Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES for 10% off any purchase over $10. If you use that promo code between now and January 28th, you will automatically be entered in a drawing to win a Ravnica Allegiance booster box. Check out the description below for details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and it's finally Ravnica Allegiance weekend, which means we're going to get an opportunity to see these cards in action in some competitive tournaments. And next week when we do our market watch, it will be more than just speculation that's driving the prices. Now, aside from those cards having a pretty big impact this week on the market, there's also a lot of focus on Commander. You're going to see that at the end of the video when we get to that Commander list, because it's pretty long again this week. Quickly before we get started though, just a fast reminder, if you check out the description below, you'll find a few ways to support the channel, one of which is our Patreon page. You're also going to find links to products on Amazon down below. If you make any purchases on Amazon, if you go through one of those links, we'll get a small percentage no matter what it is. Finally, Flipside Gaming still offering a promo code for our viewers. Hopefully you can save a little cash while you support us. But as always, thank you not only to the folks that look at each of those links, but to all of you. Y'all make the channel what it is. So thank you, and let's get into it. We're going to begin, as we always do, with the top 5 cards from standard sets that have lost value this week. Now, just a quick reminder, we're not going to talk about Ravnica Allegiance cards today individually. We did a special video on those a couple days ago. I'll link it at the end in case you missed it. But they will be in a companion video, at least for the next few weeks. Number 5, though, is History of Benalia, down 77 cents to $15.43. We're at a point now where by the time you watch this video, you might already have an idea of what decks are showing up in some of these tournaments. But up until this point, we've been going by speculation, Magic Online, that type of stuff, what's been going on in Arena. So this card just hasn't been showing up a whole lot. I have seen it in Bant Tokens builds here or there, so maybe it does see a little bit of play going forward in week 1, week 2. Time will tell. I don't think the card's going to go away, but I don't think it's going to be able to hold a $15, $16 price point unless something changes in the next few weeks. Number 4 is Star of Extinction, down 80 cents to $8.75. This is another card that feels like its role has diminished a little bit. It's not gone, though. I have seen it out of sideboards of some Naya mid-range decks. However, I don't know if it can hold on to that $8.75 price point. Number 3, Vraska Relic Seeker, goes down 88 cents to $8.11. This card also saw diminishing play as last season wore on. Golgari mid-range decks just played less and less of this card. And as we move into this new meta, not a lot of people have high hopes for it. However, Saffron Olive from MTG Goldfish was playing a Biogenic Ooze quasi-duplicate deck last week, which caught a lot of attention. That deck was running 1 copy in the main. Even if that deck becomes successful, maybe not enough to warrant an $8 price tag on this card going forward. But again, the card may not completely disappear. Number 2, Carnage Tyrant, goes down 91 cents to $28.59. Now, that Saffron Olive deck that he was playing last week was running 2 of these in the sideboard, so that was worth noting. Also, this is still going to be a good stompy card, even if it comes out of the sideboard. I'm sure it will see standard play. It just has a really high price tag at $28.59 right now, and I do think it will come down a little more, even if it sees extensive play this week and next week. So keep an eye on this one. I do expect it to drop at least a little bit. It does still see modern play, though, out of those Titan Shift sideboards, so keep that in mind, too. Number 1, Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, down 99 cents to $22. Yeah, I don't see a lot happening right now with Nicol Bolas. I mean, we've gotten some new cards, obviously, coming into the meta, but they don't really seem to help the Grixis control strategy all that much. Now, you are getting new Rakdos cards, but they tend to be a little more aggro-focused and not really as much in line with what Nicol Bolas is trying to do here, so I do think this will continue to lose value. Okay, let's move on to the top 5 cards from standard sets that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 5, Isolated Chapel, up 27 cents to $4.36. I've seen this in a number of early brews, including Esper Control and Mardu Aristocrats. Number 4, Hadana's Climb, up 33 cents to $6.28. This card's been pretty hot recently. We've been speculating as to where it was going to fall. I was hoping maybe to see it in a Merfolk deck. If that doesn't happen, though, we already have seen some decks running this, including Sultai Midrange and Simic Aggro. Number 3, Midnight Reaper, up 38 cents to $1.60. Now, this card's getting hot not only because of Standard, but also because of Commander. I do think we're going to see this in some successful Aristocrats decks, whether they're Mardu or Rakdos Aristocrats. Those are 2 decks that feel like they have a pretty good presence going into this first weekend. We'll just have to see how they perform. This is going to show up with cards like Judith the Scourge Diva there. Now, in Commander, This card looked really good if you watched the Game Nights episode from the Command Zone this week, comboing with Teysa Karlov. Teysa is going to definitely be a commander build-around card. After seeing that episode of Game Nights, it looked really cool. The interactions seem super fun. This is not the last time we're going to be talking about Teysa on this video. Number 2 is Vivian Reed, up 53 cents to $21.79. I was kind of speculating that she could lose a little more value before she stabilized. However, green is just doing so well in this early portion of the meta before the first week really began. A lot of people are brewing green decks, and she's fitting into them. Now, Golgari midrange is not gone. I do see people still playing that deck. Of course, that's going to run Vivian. And aside from that, I think the new deck is going to be Sultai midrange. So I do think she has a chance to have a pretty good weekend. If that's the case, she might actually go up in the coming week. Number 1, Arcades the Strategist, up $1.47 to $7.25. Another card we've talked about a lot recently. Can the deck get there in Standard with High Alert? Maybe. I'm a little skeptical. I'm not seeing a lot of people following through on that particular build into the first weekend, but you never know. Something could happen over the course of the early tournaments that could surprise us. But even if that doesn't happen, I do think this combination is definitely something you're going to see on Commander tables. Okay, let's move on to Modern with the top 5 Modern legal cards that have lost value this week. Coming in at number 5 is Karn Liberated from Ultimate Masters, down $2.80 to $62.19. You're going to notice there's still a lot of influence from these Ultimate Masters reprints on today's list. This card, of course, is a huge Tron card, this new copy just trying to find its price point. Number 4, Engineered Explosives from Modern Masters, goes down $2.83 this week to $39.09. Wow, this card has just had everything against it. First, it started to see a little less percentage play generally in Modern. Then it gets a reprint at Rare and Ultimate Masters. Now, Krark Clan Ironworks got banned this week, so that's a deck that actually used this in the main. Is it going to disappear? No. Actually, the Amulet Titan deck will still run a copy of this many times in the main, but for the most part, it will still be a decent Modern sideboard card, and every once in a while, it will show up in Legacy sideboards too. However, I do think it's going to lose more value before all of this is said and done. Number 3 is Liliana of the Veil. This is the Modern Masters 2017 version, going down $2.87 to $80. And again, this was a card that was reprinted in Ultimate Masters as a Mythic, and these cards are trying to find their new price points and stabilize. Liliana might go down a little more before she finally stabilizes, but then she'll begin that slow climb back up again, I have no doubt, because she is a very iconic card, and she's in big decks in Modern, Golgari Midrange, or Jund, for example, but also other builds there as well as Legacy. Number 2, Horizon Canopy from Iconic Masters, goes down $3.71 to $64.98. This card has been spiking pretty aggressively recently, so I'm not too surprised to see some normalization this week. Huge card, though, in general. Humans, decks, Bant Spirits, Hardened Scales Affinity, many other Modern and Legacy builds too will want this card. It might come down a little more before it finally stabilizes. Then expect this one, as well as the Future Sight one, to continue to climb until it eventually gets reprinted again. Number 1, Tarmogoyf, couple copies this week. Modern Masters 2017 goes down $1.97 to $57.99. Future Sight goes down $4.27 to $85.74. And much like Lily, basically the same story here. This got reprinted as a Mythic Rare and Ultimate Masters. These cards are trying to find their price point now. This sees play in a lot of the big decks that Lily sees play in as well. Golgari Midrange and Jund. You'll also find this in other Modern, Legacy, and Vintage builds. Alright, let's move on to the top 5 Modern legal cards that have gained value this week, and you're going to see a big Commander influence here. Number 5, it begins with Greater Oromancy, up $1.80 to $38.99. This card got hot last summer when that Bant Adaptive Enchantment Commander 2018 deck came out. A lot of people discovered this card for the first time, and it began going up. And should I use it? I'm going to use my one time per video. Here it is. This is from Shadowmoor. Shadowmoor had a lower print run compared to other Modern era Magic sets. So because of that, these cards do tend to get a little more spiky and a little more jumpy. This one jumps again this week. Number 4 is Jace the Mind Sculptor from Masters 25, up $1.81 to $99.74. Now, this was not in Ultimate Masters, but again, this card has been trying to find its price point as well. It was lagging behind the other Jaces for a while. Not so much anymore. It's kind of catching up and is now almost at $100. So that's pretty amazing for a Masters 25 card, considering there's still a lot of that product out there that has gone unsold. So there are some of these Jaces sitting in packs waiting to be opened. which could keep the price level, at least in the short term. But this is always one to keep an eye on because Jace is just such a good card. You'll find this in big modern decks like Azorius Control, but also in Legacy and Vintage builds. Number 3, Vesuva goes up $1.89 to $25. This is a card that sees play in Amulet Titan, and that deck is definitely starting to heat up a little bit. Number 2, Wheel of Fate, up $1.99 to $13. Okay, it's one of those suspend cards. We've been talking about these for a couple weeks now. The reason these have gotten as hot as they have gotten is because of a card from Ravnica Allegiance, and of course that's Electro Dominance. Basically, if you use Electro Dominance for 2 red, you can play a suspend card at instant speed. That's kind of awesome. Now the big question is, will this be able to work in Modern? I'm not quite there yet. Not sold on that, but you never know. We've seen some interesting Modern decks show up and do very well recently, so maybe it could happen. But again, if not, this could definitely be a combination you see happening in Commander. Number 1 is Massacre Worm, up $5.30 this week to $17.98. And again, another card that got hot for Commander purposes because of Teysa Karlov. Plays great with her. Okay, let's move on to our Vintage Spotlight. And this is where we talk about some of the cards from Vintage and Legacy, as well as cards that are important to collectors. We'll begin with some cards losing value, beginning with Mana Vault from Unlimited going down $1.71 to $132.85. This was reprinted as a Mythic in Ultimate Masters. That's why I wanted to point it out to you. But honestly, this is an Unlimited card. They kind of have a life of their own aside from gameplay and reprints, just because a lot of collectors will simply collect them because they're unlimited. It goes down a little this week. Probably not really related to the reprint, though. Back to Basics from Urza Saga goes down $2.21 to $42.52. Of course, this was reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters. And this is a card that kind of has a finite audience. And because of that, it has lost a lot of value due to the reprinting. And I do think it will lose more value. The people that want this card are some of the Legacy players that are in a few of the decks in the format. Things like Miracles, where you're not just going to find this card out of the sideboard sometimes, but many times in the main in that format. Crocus, 2 copies here. Legends down $2.59 to $74.99. Eternal Masters down $3.04 to $33.05. I said this last week, but it feels like that reprinting in Ultimate Masters, even at Mythic, was kind of the tipping point for people that needed this card. The folks that want to play this in Legacy and Vintage decks, I feel like they have their copies at this point. This has lost a lot of value since the reprint. I do think it's going to lose more. You have to remember, this is banned in Commander, so you don't have that Commander audience also interested in the card. Demonic Tutor from Unlimited goes down $3.68 this week to $65.94. This was reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters, but much like with Mana Vault, I don't think that matters all that much for the price of this card. It's probably just normalizing off its latest spike. Stoneforge Mystic, we knew this had to be here, down $4.44 this week to $39.96. This card was spiking last week due to a lot of people speculating that maybe it would become unbanned in Modern with Monday's announcement. When that didn't happen, the card started to go back down again. Here's the first card going up in value in this section. Survival of the Fittest goes up $3.54 to $93.81. Of course, this sees Vintage play in survival decks. This is on the reserve list, but it did get a reprinting as a Judge promo back when they were a little looser on those rules when it comes to reprinting things in foil if they didn't have a foil. Those rules have since changed, so this will not be seeing any more reprints. Here's another card that's been super hot recently, sees a lot of Legacy and Vintage play. It's Sylvan Library. 3 copies to talk about today. Eternal Masters going up $2.36 to $32.24. 5th edition going up $3.29 to $29.09. Legends going up $4.38 to $113.40. Gauntlet of Might, this is the unlimited copy, going up $90.67 to $611.46 this week. Nothing unusual here. Of course, this is on the reserve list and never got reprinted after this copy of the card. And there's just some higher grade copies out on the marketplace this week, and that's what's bumping the price up a little bit. The Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale of $477.80 to $2,800.49. I missed you so much, Tabernacle. Longtime viewers in the Market Watch know that this card used to show up every single week. It's been a while, been a really long time, but good to see the old friend back again. And again, this is just moving not necessarily because of gameplay, although it does see play in things like lands decks, which are very important in Legacy. But this is more of a case where, again, we have some higher grade things going on this week in the market. There's a graded copy of this card out there right now at 9.0 that's bringing the price point up just a little bit this week, and this is also on the reserve list, of course. Mox Ruby from Unlimited, also on the reserve list and was never reprinted after this point, up 230.24 to 1,769.73. Much like Gauntlet of Might, there's just some higher grade copies on the marketplace this week, bringing the price up a little. And from Unlimited, we got one more Mox for you. Mox Pearl at 519.03 to 2,624.98. And, of course, again, this is on the reserve list, was never reprinted after this point. And again, much like the Tabernacle, there's a graded copy out there, which is pushing the price point up this week. All right, time for our Commander Spotlight. There's a lot of cards to talk about. I'm going to speed round this and try to go as quickly as possible so we can cover everything in a timely manner. So here we go. Before I get into the regular cards, I have one foil to talk about. And a lot of people ask me, why don't I talk more about foils? Well, here's a good reason. Foils can easily be manipulated when you go onto the online market and check prices. And that's what's going on here. Expropriate Foil. Up $914.27 to $999.95. Okay, don't spend $1,000 on an Expropriate Foil. I don't think I need to tell you that. Someone bought these out and then listed one copy at an extremely high price point, around $1,000. And then they're trying to sell the other copies most likely for $200-$300. And because everybody's seeing this spike, the $200-$300 look like a really good deal, where a few days ago that didn't look like a good deal. They might be able to squeeze some extra money out of the copies of the card they're trying to sell, basically. It's a very old trick. It happens all the time. So just be careful when stuff like this occurs. Now, this is a great card, and the original catalyst for this, I'm sure, is because it's so popular in Commander. As a matter of fact, on that Game Nights episode from the Command Zone I was talking about earlier, this card actually set up the win. So could have gained a little notoriety from that episode, leading to this buyout, perhaps. Alright, Krark Clan Ironworks. Of course, this got banned on Monday, no longer legal in Modern. It goes down to $1.04 this week to $13. It wasn't uncommon, and it didn't have a ton of value behind it, so I don't think it's going to lose a ton of value necessarily. It will lose some more before it stabilizes, but I do think a lot of Commander players might be interested in grabbing a copy now that it's cheaper. Rings of Brighthearth goes up $1 this week to $36.49. It's from Lorwyn, but I already used my one, so I can't do that again. Now, this is just an incredible Commander card in so many builds, but recently there was a little more attention on it due to its interaction with persistent petitioners from Ravnica Allegiance. Selvala Heart of the Wilds goes up $1.01 this week to $30.99. Green has been a pretty hot color generally recently in Commander. Cards like Beast Whisperer, as well as some other good cards from Guilds of Ravnica, kind of push that. Aside from that, Ravnica Allegiance is bringing it again with some strong green cards, so I do think you might want to keep an eye on some of these harder to find cards like this one that are in the color. Sword of Light and Shadow up $1.20 to $31.17. This is the Modern Masters copy. This might be the beginning of this card heating up because it plays well with Judith the Scourge Diva as well as Teysa Karlov in Commander. Anointed Procession up $1.25 to $9.74. Another card that plays well with Teysa Karlov. And actually, just generally a really good card if you're going to play with tokens in Commander anyway. Boris Devilboon goes up $1.29 to $21.25. Whenever these Reserve List Legends Gold cards go up, I like to point them out. This is actually one of the more affordable cards that you're going to find in that category. Sliver Hive Lord goes up $1.34 this week to $15.13. Kind of stands to reason. We saw some other Sliver Lords get hot recently. Well, here's another one. Breaching Leviathan up $1.45 this week to $5.28, second week in a row on our list. And it's because it's part of that Arixmithy Slumbering Isle deck list that's been circulating recently. Teferi's Protection. This card is just a really hot Commander card right now. Kind of hard to find too, going up $1.45 to $34.56 this week. Angus Mackenzie, another Reserve List Gold card from Legends, up $1.60 to $2.30. Pretty expensive, but good in Pillow Fort decks. Here's another one, Raga of Kirkeep, up $1.61 to $43.39. And not only is this popular because it's a reserve list card, but also a lot of folks are trying to buy up anything that's related to Kobolds. There's a lot of speculation out there that the Kobolds could show up again at some point. Living End goes up $1.63 to $20, another suspend card. This one wasn't moving enough to make it onto the Modern list, so I thought I'd throw it in here. But again, this will interact very well with Electro Dominance in Commander, maybe in Modern. Sword of Feast and Famine from the Modern event deck goes up $1.66 to $37.20. Remember, we saw this over the last few weeks, this modern event deck card going up, going down, going up, going down. It's just really easy for this card to swing back and forth because there's not as many copies of the modern event deck version of the card online at any given time compared to the one that came out in the standard set. It's a great commander card though regardless, and has been hot ever since Najeela came out. Willow Satyr from Legends. This is on the reserve list, going up $1.95 this week to $59.90. This might be going up because there are a lot of people interested in some of the legends that are coming out in Ravnica Allegiance for commander purposes. However, I remember originally this card got hot back when they were making the Planeswalkers legendary. Unfortunately, if you read the Oracle text, it actually says gain control of target legendary creature, so it didn't work on the Planeswalkers. So it could be that this is going up because people don't know about the Oracle text. It could be going up because it's a reserve list card, but I wanted to share it with you regardless. Next is Scroll Rack from Tempest, going up $2.18 this week to $49.99, another very popular commander card in a lot of builds. Skull Clamp has a huge week. Why is that? Well, 2 copies in particular. These are the 2 copies that are going up more than $1, but many other copies are going up as well, just not as much. Commander Anthology goes up $1.23 to $4.05. Commander goes up $2.23 to $5.36. Now, this of course does work really well with Teysa Karlov, but it was also featured in that Game Nights Teysa Karlov deck a few days ago. There were a lot of great interactions with her throughout the game, and of course, the Game Night show gets so many viewers. You know that when something looks good on there, it's going to go up in value. That's what you're seeing this week. Aiden Oakenshield, another reserve list Gold Legends card, goes up $2.29 to $78.48 this week. Here's another one. Halfdane goes up $2.57 to $37.86. Kobold Overlord, also on the reserve list, and of course also interacts with Kobolds, and this goes up $3.49 to $73.49. Gwendolyn DeCorsai, another reserve list Gold Legends card, goes up $3.80 this week to $116.99. There are people really interested in picking these up this week, as you can see. Concordant Crossroads from Legends goes up $10.77 to $119.99. This is not on the reserve list. It did get reprinted in Chronicles if you're looking for a cheaper copy. But again, this card's been really hot recently, and I do think it has been tied in with those good green cards, including Beast Whisperer that came from Guilds of Ravnica, and also some of those strong green cards coming at us now with Ravnica Allegiance. Although, it might just simply be going up this week because it's a Legends card and they are getting harder and harder to find in good condition all the time. Nothing really going on in Pauper this week, so that concludes the Market Watch. Hey, until next time, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.